Hey guys, today's video is going to be a knit tutorial on how to knit a classic beanie. So beanies are my favorite thing to knit. First things first, we're going to get our yarn. I'm using cotton yarn. I think it's perfect for springtime, so that's what I'm going to be using. And it's this beautiful like seafoam green color, so I have my needle, which is a 5.5 or a US 9 needle, and I'm just going to cast on. The little trick that I do is because I can't make a hat that is perfect for everybody's head size, I cast on the amount of stitches and then I measure, like I spread out the stitches and I measure how long that is with the measuring tape, and then I just have to make sure that there's an even number. And that's how I figure out how many stitches. I am making a smaller version so that I can tape all of this. So this is like a hat for a premature baby. But like I said, you can measure it and customize it to your liking so that it can fit your head. Also remember that this is a stretchy hat, so if you want to lose a couple of stitches and just make sure that they're even, then that's fine. We're going to be starting with a rib stitch, and how a rib stitch is worked is it is alternated between knitting stitch and a purl stitch. So the first stitch is knit and the second stitch is purled, and you repeat that sequence all the way across. You also want to make sure, you'll see in a second, that you don't make your cast on as tight as I did, because then it'll be really hard. So we knit and we purl, and that's why we need an even number of stitches to make sure that it's even on each row. So we repeat the rib stitch, and I repeated it for 4 rows, but I kind of wish that I made it a thicker band. The rib stitches is our band, like the band of our hat. So make it as thick or as thin as you would like. And there it is. So the next stitch that we're working on is going to be actually our hat. And it's going to be, like the bases of our hat. So we're going to be doing a stockinette stitch, which is just alternating rows of knit and purl. So our first row is going to be knit, and we're just going to knit each stitch across. And that's going to be our first stockinette row. Also, a good thing to note is that when you're working in this stockinette stitch, your odd numbered rows are always going to be knit, and your even numbered rows are always going to be purled. I think that will help if you do count your rows and you keep your gauge. That will be helpful for you if you ever forget what you're working on. So like I said, we're just going to keep knitting across. And then we're going to, the next row is going to be purled. And I will show you that as well. We're just finishing up our last couple of stitches. See, I try to make a little hat and it's still kind of big. No, it's fine. Sorry that I keep getting out of frame. I don't know what that's about. So that's our first knit row, which I can't really tell anything about. And now we're going to turn it, and we're going to do our purled row. So whenever you're purling, you want to make sure that the working yarn is in front of the needle, because that's how purls differ from knitting stitches. Knit is in the back, the yarn is usually behind your needles, and in purl, the yarn is in front of your needles. So we're just going to repeat this knit row, purl row, stockinette stitch for as long, once we want the hats to be a certain length. So I like my hats to be really slouchy and big, and kind of like hobo-y. So I knit for quite a bit of time. But if you want like a skull cap, then I would after every couple of rows, I would measure it, and once it's starting to get close to your skull, like where you would want to close it, then I would start to decrease, which I will show you in just a moment once we gain some momentum on our knit rows. Not our knit rows, our hat base rows. I don't even know if that's a thing. I just made something up, but I think it works. So, yeah, right now we work the stockinette stitch. I mean, we're always working in the stockinette stitch from this point on, but we're just making it the length of our hat. The height of our hat. The height of the hat that we want to achieve. And like I said, I like really slouchy hats. So my hats are always long, tall. Tall, I think, is the correct term. Oh boy, guys. So now that we've gotten some height or length on our hat, we're going to start decreasing. Now, obviously, this is not a hat made to scale, but well, unless you're a premature baby. But so when we decrease, we knit a few stitches and then we knit 2 together. So I'm going to be knitting 5 stitches in this row and then knitting 2 together. And then I knit 5 stitches again and knit 2 together. And that is how I decrease. So I repeat that pattern all the way across. And then you might think that we purl the same way, but I actually purl, I don't decrease when I purl, so I keep all my stitches when I'm purling, and then I only decrease on my knit stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I knit 2 together. So like I said, we're going to purl our rows the same way that we usually did. We're not going to decrease on our purled rows, but we will, the next row, we will instead knit 4 stitches, knit 2 together, purl the next row, and then we're going to knit 3 stitches, knit 2 together, purl the next row, knit 2 together, knit 1, knit 2 together, and then knit 2 together all the way across. So our purled rows don't change, but each time we knit, we decrease the amount of stitches that we knit before we knit 2 together. That's the only difference when you're decreasing, and then I just do that until I can knit 2 together all the way across. And then we have a very little amount of stitches left, as you can see, and this is when we start to assemble our hat. So I'm actually going to take the needle off the stitches, the needle out of the stitches, and insert my hook, and then I'm going to pull through the yarn through all of the stitches. You can do this with a needle too. I just had a hook laying around, so I thought it would be easier. And now we're going to set up our hat to be assembled. So this is actually, so it's not a seamless hat, obviously, you knit it flat. So we're just going to sew our hat like this. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video.